All right. Another episode of The Extra Mile. It's Jay Colenso and Ryan Nelligan here again on this lovely Wednesday evening. Thank you all in advance for joining us here as we talk a lot about the Extra Mile Road to Recovery, Rebuild, and Restore. We're waiting on Jerry, but we figure we'll get a head start here while we're waiting for him. So this topic I really wanted to cover because I've noticed a bit of a trend when it comes to people and their recovery from either their workouts or like life stressors and things like that that seem to be impeding on their performance. So I definitely wanted to put out a few things. Coming from a physical therapy background, 13 years in the game now, I've seen treated thousands of patients, so I have seen a lot of things in terms of the recovery aspect of this. So I'm happy to bring out some nuggets, and Ryan will be bringing up some stuff too about his training, and Jerry will whenever he comes on here about his as well, and kind of what we're doing to make sure that we stay in the game. So Ryan, I know we've talked about this before, and obviously this is going to be the duh part of this discussion. But sleep is paramount towards anything to do with recovery and the ability to have, the long-standing tenure with fitness, essentially. So, I know for me, over the last couple of years, I've really done a lot to help my sleep with a routine, really trying to nail things down because I used to have insomnia for years and still do occasionally get it. But for the longest time, for a period of a couple years, it'd be consistent where I had, like maybe 3 hours of sleep a night for stretches of time on average. And going through those, it made me appreciate the importance of sleep because when we're younger, we don't really take into account the importance of sleep because, well, we're younger, we can recover faster, and we got more energy. So sleep kind of goes by the wayside. But as we get older, we have to sort of budget that a little bit. So Ryan, I know that when we've talked before that you've said, sleep has been fairly good for you. Is there do you have a routine? Like, what's your kind of go-tos, supplements? Like, what is it that helps you to get a good night's sleep?
Well, I think I've just gotten in the habit of waking up really early and going to sleep early. So I think part of it is just you're awake for so long. Like if I wake up at 4 a.m., then I'm tired at 7:30, and I don't really have trouble falling asleep, honestly. Um, Typically, we'll either I mean, people say not to do this, but we have a TV in our bedroom, and we'll either, like, watch a show and fall asleep, or we have gotten more into reading recently, which is very new and unexpected for me. I'm reading my first 1,000-page book right now, and I'm
Okay, what are you reading?
pages in. It's a Stephen King book,
Okay.
uh, but I don't know. I think part of it's, like, limiting caffeine. Typically, I don't have any caffeine after, like, I mean, realistically, 2 or 3 is, like,
Mhm.
my hard stop. Um, I do take a lot of supplements. One of them has magnesium. I know that's been shown to help
Mhm.
aid in sleep. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just try I do all my exercising generally in the morning. I know that Jerry does the opposite, but so I kinda just try to relax into the night. Um, I try to eat dinner a little bit earlier too, so it's not like I'm eating dinner and then going right to sleep, but yeah, basically, I'm usually in bed at, like, 7:30 or 8, and I'm asleep by 8:30, and then I'm up sometime between 4 and 5:30, I would say. So, average, like, 8 hours of sleep probably.
That's awesome.
How about
Yeah,
you?
yeah. I mean, for me, yeah, it's been just again, consistency, like you say, you want to stick to a time that your wind down time should be within a fairly short range. I would say probably within half hour. You should probably be around that time. That's worked for me. Um, One trend that I do have, and it's something, I don't know if it's age, but the last probably year or two, I just wake up in the middle of the night. It between 1:30 and 2, I can 95% I'm waking up. 5% is like 3:30, and that's the worst because I usually wake up between 4:45 and 5. So it's like if I wake up at 3:30 and I got to sit there and try to get myself back to sleep, it's like then I overthink it. And
Yeah.
then it just almost never happens. And then I'm irritated and dragging ass all day, and then that's never good.
Do you ever
But
do you ever count sheep?
oh god, I've done it all. I've counted sheep. I've counted every animal to go over a fence. I've counted. I,
Really?
I have. Oh yeah, dude. I've
I mean,
read.
I still count sheep sometimes. It
Yeah,
it works.
yeah. I think it's the monotony of it. Like if you're relaxed enough, and I think as long it's like soothing and it's like that monotonous feeling, I think that helps to facilitate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do. I've done that. What I have discovered though with this waking up is that I got to switch rooms. I know that's the weirdest thing, but if I wake up and then use the restroom or whatever, I come back to the bedroom, dude. I almost can never fall back asleep. I can, but it takes a while. So I know that for whatever reason, I think my brain is just like we are preparing for the second half of the evening. So that means I move. Like I usually either go to the living room or the other bedroom or whatever and just try to figure it out from there, but usually it's a lot faster. Um
That's
ano-
interesting.
it is. Another thing that's worked for me has been to when I'm laying down is to do isometrics. I'll do them with my legs especially. So I'll push down into the bed, 5-second hold, relax. If I'm like on the couch and I do that, I get maybe 8 reps and I'm down. It works. Like I
That
think it really it helps with the muscle tone. I think it helps with the relaxation. Because you're contracting the muscle without putting real force through it.
yeah,
So I think that has to do a lot with like the relaxation and kind of the nervous system input, and then it helps to get me to sleep a little bit quicker. Um,
interesting.
and yeah, and it has been a challenge. I mean, I think that a lot of the insomnia was linked to like a lot of it's linked to stress. And I think if you talk to anybody that's gone through it, they'll probably find a way back to that in some way, whether it's pain stress, like my father, a lot of chronic pain. So that's when he had trouble sleeping. Um, whether it's pain, whether it's something to do, mental issues or whatever. A lot of it can be link back to that. So, for me, if I target the stressors and feel better, then that helps with the sleep quality, even if I'm still waking up, middle of the night. And at least I know I can fall back asleep and be okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say that a couple other things I do is I try to make the house, like, a little bit colder,
Hmm.
for bed, and then we have an overhead fan we'll turn on. I need a lot of noise, basically, so, like, I have, like, a little, dehumidifier thing
Okay.
that it doesn't really serve that purpose anymore, it just makes a noise like a fan, and then
Hmm.
we also have a, Hatch alarm clock. That's a thing that, like, instead of it making a noise for the alarm, it lights up the room, like, very slowly, so you wake up kind of to a sunrise, essentially,
Oh,
but
okay.
it has, like, a rain noise built into it, so we have that on, um, so lots of noise. I don't like sleeping in silence.
Yeah. Like kind of like that white noise.
Yeah,
It helps to kind of, yeah, I like that. It is nice to get that out there. We have like a really loud, it's not like super loud, but like just our HVAC unit is right here in the bedroom. So that creates quite a bit of that white noise, and
yeah,
it's great. It's great. Yeah, because when this is off, it's weird. Like like all the
yes.
creaks and like it's
You
You
can
know,
hear the rats running around in the
yeah.
attic. Kidding, hopefully, but
Goddamn, goddamn rats. I know, especially this time of year. It's cold and they're trying to find a hiding spot.
they
So
are.
that sucks. But it's rats.
They're the worst.
I know. Um, but I mean, obviously, I mean, anybody watching this, sleep is obviously going to be paramount. With it in regards to any sort of recovery, that's going to be number one. And I think that for anybody that does feel overtrained, that's number one to look at. Like, and that's chances are that's probably what it's going to be. Why aren't you recovering? Well, I sleep like 3 hours a night. Well, you have to fix that first in order to make sure everything else is successful. So, obviously sleep is paramount. Um, but another one that kind of ties in is the hydration levels and making sure that we drink enough water. Obviously, again, another one, making sure that our electrolyte balance is proper. Um, and I think for you, I want to know more of your, how closely do you pay attention to hydration, especially given how far you're running?
Well, generally, even if I don't run, which I run like basically 6 days a week, I'll have an element packet which has 1,000 milligrams of sodium.
Hmm.
I'm just naturally a really heavy sweater. So I do have to pay attention to that, especially my races and I mean and training. Um, I try to for races, I try to shoot for at least 1,000 milligrams of sodium an hour. Um, and that comes in the form of like element or just hydration, other electrolyte drinks, salt pills. Some of the gels have sodium in it.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's really important. What about you?
Oh yeah, I'm on it. Like I can tell. I can tell instantly. I mean, I know that like I'm very diligent about any time that I run. I got my electrolyte packets. And the second I walk in, bam, I put a packet in my water. I make sure to get that down before anything else. As long as I do that, I usually feel pretty good. I mean, I'll get a little sore depending on the intensity, but usually pretty good.
Yeah,
If I don't, it's or if I notice that I don't drink enough water, man, I am sore as shit. I am just I move like shit, feel like it. I know I'm stiff, and I know that my mobility is going to be requiring some extra work when those things happen. So
yeah,
I am very diligent about it now. Maybe not so much when I used to, but again, age gives you some wisdom along the way. So I definitely the one thing that I wish I can improve on myself is I have to get one of those like form fitting water bottles or whatever that you can kind of hold or like something that's not as distracting because I absolutely hate running with a water. So, are there any things that you found running wise that you like with that?
yeah. Well, I really like running belts.
Okay.
For a long time, I was using this belt from this company called Naked, and it has like 3 slots where you can put like a soft flask water bottle, like the same ones that go like in a hydration vest. But more recently, I got a belt from Raid, RAIDE, or something like that. It's Raid anyway. But
Mhm.
that belt's really good, and it comes with like a 21-ounce soft flask, and it
Okay.
goes right, basically right at your low back, and it fits really well. It doesn't bounce at all.
Oh, okay.
So that way you don't have to hold it in your hands. You just reach
Yeah.
back, pull it out whenever
Okay.
you're thirsty, and then like the front has room for your phone and gels and stuff. Uh,
Okay.
so like if I was to do another 50K race, which I'm going to, or even like a marathon, that's probably what I would wear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. 'Cause you figure, you know, I mean, you kind of, I mean, let's see, you want to kind of, because if you're doing a marathon, you want to have like 8 to 12 ounces of water, probably like every what, 30 to 45 minutes. If we're going at, depending on depending on how, how the temperature is, what your exertion levels are, optimally at least to replenish at a certain rate, at least throughout a longer intensity activity. But I'm sure that's hard too, to be
Yeah.
able to do it at any kind of clip like that. It's hard.
Yeah, I think it depends on like how long you're going to be out there, and also I don't know. I mean, some people literally don't carry anything; they just take the cups. I
Yeah.
did that one marathon, and I suffered so badly. Like I was so dehydrated by the end because it was also hot.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make that mistake again. The last one I did, I think I had like one small handheld, and that one was enjoyable. um, and then like anything shorter, like the half I did, I don't yeah, I don't think I carried a water bottle. I just took like the little cups at the aid stations, but
Yeah.
I was under an hour and a half, so I don't think it's like as important
Sure.
for shorter durations. The
Right.
longer the longer you go, the more important like all of this stuff is, like hydration and fueling with carbs or whatever kind of food you're eating.
When you did your, some of your longer ultras, was there a certain ratio, like when you would get to your stations, like, from what the little that I know, like they come up every so often, was there a method to the madness? Like I need X amount of carbs plus X number of ounces of water? Was there anything that you had set up like that? Or did you kind of just be like, I'm going to chug Coke and eat this burrito, and when I'm full, I'm out, or something like that?
I mean, for Tahoe, that's kind of what it was like. I was just trying to eat as much as I could. I mean, at the aid stations, it was like full meals, like
Yeah.
cheeseburgers, pasta, and meatballs. But that's not really normal for
Right.
shorter
Right.
distance stuff. Like for 50K distance, I would try to do um, between or somewhere around about 100 grams of carbs an hour.
Okay.
For me, that's like basically 3 gels an hour. So
Yeah.
every 20 minutes. And then each aid station is usually about 6 or 7 miles apart. So depending on like the terrain, that could be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half or something. Um, and ideally I'm drinking like if I have two 16-ounce soft flasks, I'm drinking both of those and refilling them. Maybe having a little chug of Coke or something, um and then refilling and going. But so much of it depends on terrain, the temperature. Like
Hmm.
you don't need to drink as much if it's 20 degrees, if it's like 80. So
Sure.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It sounds like those things are like survive. Do what you got to do to survive. And Tahoe, that was a wild trip from what you told us. So got to
Yeah.
do what you got to do, man. And it always cracks me up too to see, like, I'll watch occasionally like some YouTube documentaries or whatever, and it's always fun to watch. Anybody that gets to one of these aid stations, they come out with that 2 liter of Coke, like it's the greatest thing in the history of ever,
Yeah.
just chugging it. And dude, it is like
Yeah.
I've had like the races where they'll give out like the free energy drinks or whatever. It's like the greatest tasting thing ever. Like at that specific moment, it's wonderful.
100%. That is something that is amazing about these endurance events is like your taste buds just go to another planet. Like everything tastes so good during and after. It's wild. Like you really like earn the meal or whatever
Yeah.
it is, snack or drink or anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, hey man, and if that's good motivation in of itself to do these things, is to be able to chow these big ass burritos and
Dude, 100%. That's fun.
chug a 2 liter. Hell yeah, man. Stuff is the Stuff's awesome. So good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, sleep, hydration, duh. All right, we've gotten through these things. Obviously, if anybody's watching, they're like, yeah, sure, we know this. Get to something we want to raise our eyebrows at. All right, fine. Load management. I love this. I love this. For the love of God. All right.
Yeah,
We need to touch on this. Deload weeks are important. All right. We do not have to train heavy and hard all the time. There are things like rest breaks that are important. There are deload weeks that are very important. These things are important if you want to train for decades. All right. If you want to, there's always going to be like you put your mind to something short term, and yes, absolutely, balls to the wall. Anything for a short period of time can be possible. But if you're doing this for the long haul, you have to deload. And this is something that I do with every client that I work with gets a deload week, usually every 4 weeks. And that's not even if they're like a power lifter. That's just if they're into a regimen. I mean, because they are adapting to a new stress, most likely they're not super trained. So I have to see that they're going to every couple weeks, regardless if it's the training itself or life, that they're going to have to cycle the intensity. And I have a feeling that load management and deloads and everything are an issue with people, especially that are competitive, that and like you're in your shoes, that are doing these really intense races, and the preparation is super important, and you have to be da 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 da. It is easy to be like, just one more session, just one more run, just one more lift, just and we can keep pushing the goalposts back, but eventually the body's going to collect receipts. And and Ryan, I know that again from your ultras and all of that stuff, that that you do have taper weeks. I mean, that the running world is tapering. Um, have you found any secret sauce, any time frame for a good taper, or for ways that you can move, shift and maneuver things around for deload?
This is something that I'm still working on, honestly. I have not figured this out. That's part of the reason I'm planning to get a coach pretty soon. Um, but I mean, a taper leading into a race, I've actually found that for me, less of a taper works better. Like you typically hear like 2 to 3 weeks, you taper down your mileage in
Mm-hmm.
intensity, or some people say like keep the intensity but just lower the mileage.
Hmm.
Um, I found that somewhere around a 2 week taper works well, but not like making it too significant. Um, like in the ideal world, I've been doing 55-mile weeks the past 6 or 7 weeks or something. So I was planning on doing like 40 miles this week and then um, just a couple runs next week. But I'm having a little bit of issues with my right leg right now, so I haven't run since last Saturday.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, in the past, I guess as a general training principle, kind of like you were saying, it's like 2 or 3 weeks build, and then 1 week is like you back off a little bit, and then you kind of slowly build. I'm sure you've heard the 10% rule, which I actually don't know how true this is, like, in terms of overall volume. They say, like, you don't wanna increase your weekly mileage by more than 10% each week.
Mhm.
That's kind of like just something people say.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, I listen to David Roche and Megan Roche a lot. They said, like, the research doesn't necessarily support that. It's more so increasing your long run more than 10%, like, that's where the injuries can come in.
Mm.
Um, so I guess overall, I'm still trying all different sorts of things, and maybe I'm not the best person to look at because I keep getting injured, so
We'll get to that. We'll do a little deep dive into what's ailing Ryan and what can we possibly help him with. So,
what
and
do
I
you
think what's up?
what do you think?
What about what with deloads, or with just you mean
Yeah,
your injury?
like deloads, I mean, do you I mean, you take entire, like, off seasons from running, right?
So off season doesn't mean I don't do it. Off season just means it's a drastic reduction in volume, and then I prioritize the strength training. So, like the true off season's fairly new. It's probably the last couple of years, where I actually took, say, like mid July to the beginning of October, and just said this is going to be next couple of months. It's summertime. You stay with the training, just changes a bit. You're much less intense. The volume for the running goes down. And what I like to look at is, okay, did I have anything that was nagging through the year? And last year, I had like left hamstring. Didn't hurt, but it would be like I would feel it more. Hard to describe. Kind of just I would feel it. But haven't had a problem this year at all. Um, Another one is my right leg. So I got scoliosis. So my right leg, if you ever see me standing and looking at someone, my right foot turns out it's externally rotated. So I toe out. So in order for me to have square hips, I have to turn that foot out about 25, 30 degrees, and then my hips are square. But I noticed that if my foot turns more of a neutral position when I run, that repeated kind of you're going from now an externally rotated position to an internally rotated position. That muscle at the top of the hip, which is TFL, tensor fascia lata, which continues with the IT band, that gets really sore to the point where I can't even, not that I can't pick up my leg, but it's really hard. It gets really pinchy. So being aware of that, I was able to adjust mechanics a bit, and just to know that I got to allow at least a little toe out when I run. It's not the most efficient, but I'd rather a couple seconds decrease versus my hip is going to be screaming at me. So I like to use the off season for like tweaks like that, mobility, which is going to be the next thing, and I think that'll kind of go into some of the stuff that you might be looking into. Um, so the off seasons are kind of just dialing it back. And what I like about it too, again, my races are 10 miles and under. I'm not a super crazy competitor either. So this might be a little bit different than like, David Roche and some more like the ultra crowd. But I like it because then October rolls around, it's cooler out, and now I'm like, I kind of want to run again. Now I'm excited to do it. I feel rested. My body's like, we're ready to increase the volume. It's more comfortable to run. And then I just kind of, it just kind of feels natural. It's like October, it's cooler out. It's just kind of like an easy segue back into it. And then I just start increasing the mileage. And that's where I'm at now, probably until I think probably about another month and a half, and then the volume really kicks up for me relatively. So, so that's when I utilize the off season. I like to kind of just get that, kind of run down. What can I improve on? Like, what can I do with my training to narrow in on? That's what I use that off season for, and that kind of deloading to kind of, see what I really need to improve on. For running, it's I don't know about you for races, but for me, my weaknesses are hills and my lactate threshold for anywhere from the about halfway to 2/3 part of the race. I die, and then I pick it up for the finish. I'm usually pretty solid, but I die, and it, it irritates me. So in the off season, I look to that. I'm like, okay, what can I strategize? Like now I got a whole year coming up now. What other things can I put in? Now we can put in more tempo runs, more hill work, get more specific. So that's kind of what I use the off season for. So, it's just kind of like tweak things around and narrow the focus.
Makes sense. Do you feel like you lose a lot of fitness? Like that's always what I'm worried about. Like you take a month or two off and like you're starting back at square one basically with your like aerobic system.
So not necessarily. So I don't really get too nervous about it because I notice that it comes back pretty quickly for me. So for instance, like when I talk like volume, so like my peak volume for my races is like 35 miles a week. Again, 10 and under, I'm about 35 a week at the top. I reduced that in the off season to maybe 15. So I'm still getting like a decent clip, but it's probably going to be, you know, not super crazy. So I try to keep it within a level that I don't lose everything. Like I did a race with Jerry when he was up in Baltimore in like August and part of my off season just to get out there again. But I could tell my legs were still fried. Like I
Yeah.
went out there and yeah, I went out way too quick, but that was, that was my fault. And but I noticed like I just didn't have like I didn't have the kick. So that was something I knew. I was like, okay, we still are. This season was rough. I'm like, we're still trying to recover. And so I'll do things like that to make sure that I stay. I'll do a race here and there. That's when I did like the Meet of Miles. It was my first sub 6 in 22 years when I did that, which was freaking awesome. I was so, or no, was it 23 years? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
so I was pretty pumped about that, man. And then to know that I got beat by over a minute was kind of humbling. It's like,
yeah.
I watched the guy. I was coming around like the first turn of the track, and I saw the guy coming around the last turn, like out of my left eye. I was
Yeah.
like, this guy's an absolute animal. So,
Not as
um,
fast as that high schooler.
what was that? I'm sorry.
Not as fast as that high schooler doing a
Uh,
3:47 mile.
346 indoors. That's dude. That's unreal. That
That's
is
amazing. I can't even imagine.
like
Really.
16. I was like, yeah, we should get him on the show so he can, talk about his running. Although he'll probably be like, yeah, I just show up to practice and just try my
Yeah,
best because he's 16 and he's just
yeah.
fast as hell. So he probably doesn't really think much of it, which is great. Which is awesome. Good for him.
Yeah.
No, no, it's but I mean, Ryan, I know that you're an awesome runner. I mean, you are. You're a better runner than I am. You're faster, fast as shit. So I know you know what you're doing. But I think that looking into some of the things like deloading and I don't think that you'll necessarily have to have like again, I'm 10 years older basically. So the off season can be a little bit longer, but I think for you, you know, drop down a bit and then get back into like, what if there's a gap in like the racing year, maybe use that. Maybe like a month where your volume isn't as high, not
Yeah.
super low, but for you that might be what if you're doing 55, maybe 30, I mean that would still keep you, your long runs probably 10 miles and then 6, 7 at a clip during the week. So I mean, I think things like that would help to, have make sure that you're kicking ass at 50 because I'm confident that you can because I mean, I saw your half marathon time. I think you did sub 130, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Or
I think it was like 1:26:30 or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you're crushing it, man. So, and you have the potential to crush it for so long, because you got the good systems down now in terms of just speed and just the prep. Now it's just like staying healthy
Yeah.
and being able to do it for 20, 30 years or however long that you want to do this for. So but yeah, I mean, so deload is huge. And I guess we'll kind of go back and forth on this pillar mobility, which I don't know if that is in your case, but I think mobility is a big thing for a lot of people. Um, there's a phrase in the physical therapy world: "Stability rules the road." So anytime that the body senses that it's not safe, brings everything together. That's when we start to get like frozen shoulders. So when we start to, we get like the hunchbacks. We start to get like a lot of, if you ever see like someone with Parkinson's disease walking around, kind of like the, hunched over, shuffling gait pattern. So mobility becomes much more important obviously as we age, and I think that's kind of the key with a lot of these things is just longevity in the long term. But mobility, something that I practice a lot every session. Again, I audit myself in terms of like when I go before I go in, I'm like, okay,
Not sure if you're, frozen, Jason, or if it's just my screen. Well, all right. I guess it's just me now. Is anyone on here? Let's see what Jason's. Well, I think he was talking about mobility. My mobility, I basically just do foam rolling essentially. Um, Foam roll my legs and my back, and that's about it. Let's see. I don't know. He may have lost internet or something. So, oh, here he comes. Hey,
Dude,
man.
goodness.
I was just just talking to myself a little bit.
Too. I was like, I think I lost him. So, and we were probably talking to ourselves like parallel. So this is going to come off really good on a replay. This is going to be fantastic. That's the cost of small business, baby. I do not have the greatest internet connections. It's great for the most part, but except for that. Anyway, sorry for the cutout. But yeah, I was just kind of touching on mobility. So obviously, mobility important, stability.
Uh-oh. I think we lost him again. He might need to upgrade his Wi-Fi.
I don't think this is gonna.
It's okay. I think maybe we should just call it quits.
Oh man, and we're just getting to your situation. I'm like,
Oh
I
no,
do.
it's fine.
I don't even know. I don't even know how to describe this. I'm looking at my like internet. It is
Oh man, there he goes again. He's about to say something good. All right, I think I'm calling it. Thanks for everyone that tuned in. Kind of doubt anyone's on here right now, but it's been real. Happy training.